over what happened today and just kind of starting out on the let's see, starting out on the big picture of what's going on. So got to this, and you're gonna tell that we went up to these same levels right here, just barely above it on that day, but then we sold back below it, and you can see we bounced off of it there. And in my opinion, that's really what the big picture is going on. We're going back up to these levels. We're testing them, kind of selling off a bit. Wouldn't be surprised if we continue to drop. I don't think we're ever going to go. I don't think we're going to go and break, those lows way down here. But I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to drop to, let's see, maybe right around either like here or here. And if things got really serious, then maybe you'd expect it down to like 260. But I don't even know if I'd expect it too far. I think we're just probably going to have a little bit of a pullback down to where we find some sort of a support and then come back and break above this, because really nothing has changed that I see that's really big economically. Like, no fundamental things have changed. And so I just think, we had way too much overextended and we just weren't quite ready to break through that yet and selling back off. And then so intraday, just kind of showing what was going on. You can see it's like yesterday after we went down a little bit of the open, we were mostly flat and we kind of had a couple times we came up to around here. And today, we pretty much, was this the opening candle? Yeah. Started out right below that level and just kind of went down mostly the majority of the whole day. Let me go to the 5 minutes so you can see that level a little bit more clearly right there about how that came into play a couple times. And then really we sold off, and once it broke that was a good sign that it would go down more. And then it just kept breaking through, broke through that, kept going down. You can tell it came up and bounced off right there, which that's from, excuse me, right there. That's where you can see all those candles lining up on it. And we came up pretty much right to it and reversed at it and sold back off more. And then just intraday, if you weren't looking backwards, you could have also seen this level right here was pretty significant right there, because all those were in the same area. And that broke, came up and tested it, and kept going back down. Then later in the day, once you get this like reversal right here, we came back up to it, just went barely above it, and broke back down below it again. And so this little thing right here, you have the selling pressure to start the day, probably because, like I said, if we go back out to the 2-day, we started below this significant point right here, right there. That significant point. And then we came back down, and this point wasn't really, I guess that is the low a day from there before. And then also you can tell it just really establishes itself. You could have spotted this intraday. And that came into play as it broke. More selling momentum, came back up to it, it broke again, good selling momentum, and never came back up and tested it. And it's important to point out that, like, since this level reestablished itself, is important today to keep that in mind for tomorrow. Say if we come back up to 278.38, right around that area, to look for it and understand that it was significant for 2 days in a row. And so if we come back up to it tomorrow, it's going to be hard to break, and it's probably going to be significant. And so anyway, mostly I think what's important is to understand that intraday, and then big picture, what's going on, why we bounced off of those levels, and why they weren't broken, and why that's significant from back here, and even a little bit before we come back up to it and sell off around these levels there. But mostly it's significant from these three. Oh, my bad. These sell-offs over here, is that's where you get that level. And really, if you just think, we were so overextended coming into this, and that was such a significant level that there's just probability-wise a very low probability that we're just going to soar right through that. Very low probability. And then intraday, I don't know what other people were looking at, but if you go to Roku, yeah, so really, I mean, you can just tell, notice the volume just open. And so you get all this consolidation, you know, from right around there. And oops, I moved it a little bit. You had, I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be exactly on it, but anyway, you can just tell you had all this consolidation from right around here. And as it broke above those levels on volume, that should have been a clear buy signal. And I alerted this one, I alerted it a little bit um, late, partially because I slept in. But yeah, that should have been a buy signal. You just look from the day before and you see this thing went sideways for quite a few hours. And so that makes that place significant. And then you break above it and break above it on volume. That volume is pretty high. And then that volume stays as it keeps going up a good bit of the day. And, then we start consolidating again. So this isn't an exact place, but just kind of understand, big picture when you're starting to, I mean, this isn't as much consolidation, but see a lot of consolidation around a price point like that, that when it breaks above it, it's going to be significant. Like, yeah, if it breaks above it, it'll be significant, and if it broke down, then this place would be kind of significant. And so you want to understand both ways, just how to spot the significant areas and how they come into play. As one is broken above, then you will go for a little while, and then another one is formed, and so you'll either get, either you'll get a continuation or sideways, it'll break above it, or it'll break below it. And that's how you play off of that. You're looking for the break, and you're catching that overextended move. Let me see. I left because I had a test, but okay. Facebook just went sideways pretty much most of the day. QQQ. QQQ was interesting because the SPY was dropping harder than the QQQ. And so you could kind of tell just with the downward sentiment. It wasn't anything that I was looking at on TA, but I believe so. QQQ looks like that. And SPY, right, was dropping, just dropped harder at open a little bit ahead of it before. I guess not that much ahead of it. Anyway, I guess it just went pretty much similar. So let's see. That's Facebook, Amazon, QQQ. Just seeing if any other stocks did anything. All right. So I mean, you have just kind of reiterating things that I've been over before. You have SQ go up, almost fill a gap, not quite. Once it broke above there, middle of that candle right there, that's a good sign. See any other big name stocks do anything that was obvious. Okay, BA broke down pretty much just similarly with the SPY. So if you wanted to trade BA, it looks similar to the SPY. You could have traded it. Let's see if it would have been more obvious. Not really. I mean, kind of just a breakdown similar, I'd say, to the SPY. But BA, Baba's just been going sideways for a little bit, it looks like. Pretty much big picture, and then intraday, Flash Barrel and stuff. Yeah, I mean, intraday, not a whole lot that you can really do with it. Yeah, a good bit of stuff went sideways today, and the indexes definitely went down, and Roku went up. And so that's pretty much what I've been over. Hope that helps people, and that kind of explains most of the day. I wasn't here for a lot of the day, so if there's stuff that I'm missing going over, my bad on that. But just kind of going over the big picture, what happened in the markets. And so anyway, hopefully that helps you all.